The Undertaker. So the Undertaker's Last Ride documentary episode 5 recently came out. Before we even talk about that though, I did want to get your comments on one last thing. Because I seen recently, I believe it was during an interview, Shane McMahon said, I know I got one more with him. So I'm ready. I'll challenge him now. I want a rematch. Hell in a Cell 2. Shane McMahon wants one more match with The Undertaker, and he wants it to be a Hell in a Cell again. So before we even talk about the documentary, tell me what you think about that. Would you like to see a Shane McMahon versus Undertaker one more time in a Hell in a Cell?
Hell no, let it go.
What? You don't want to see it again?
Nope. I'm not a fan of Shane McMahon matches, and I'm being in the ring. Let's keep it moving.
What? You're not a fan of Shane McMahon's matches? I can't keep it moving on that. Shane McMahon's is amazing, dude. His matches is crazy.
Yeah, crazy because that's like one of the few things he does. Because other than that, you watch a Shane McMahon match, it's like, all right. We got a guy who has nothing special about him, really. And he just kind of goes in, clowns it up, and then, you know, he does something crazy and be like, oh my God, remember when he did that? And that's pretty much a Shane McMahon match.
Oh my gosh. That Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania with Undertaker was amazing. Shane McMahon I actually think Shane McMahon is a good wrestler. I like how he still has a lot of realism in his wrestling. Like it seemed like he actually hits them and stuff like that. Like he don't be holding back. Like if you get into a match with him, it's going to be physical. Probably obviously not as physical like a Brock Lesnar or whatnot, but it's going to be a physical match, and he's going to take a lot of the brunt of it, but he's going to dish it out as well. I actually like Shane McMahon's matches, and I'm going to go on a limb here and say I would like to see it one more time. I would like to see one more Hell in a Cell match with Shane McMahon and The Undertaker.
You is wildin', man. Oh my God. I'm on top of that. Like, I feel like Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon is actually a good match, but Undertaker versus Shane McMahon, oh my God, we're going to get the same thing. We're going to get a match where we know how it's going to end, we know what's going to happen, and then we're just going to be like, oh man, remember that time Shane McMahon went up against The Undertaker and lost for a third time in a row?
I actually liked the Shane McMahon match with AJ Styles at WrestleMania too. I think it was one of actually the best matches of that card. But Shane McMahon has great matches, and that Kevin Owens match, like his Kevin Owens rivalry was great as well. Like I would like to see it one more time. And with that being said, I got to open up this discussion as well, because this goes right into the Undertaker Last Ride episode 5. My question here for you, before I get your thoughts about the whole documentary itself and the last episode, are you happy with the Boneyard match possibly being the Undertaker's last match?
Kinda, because I wish it ended in a ring, so it probably will end in a ring. But if he ends in a ring, it should be against an opponent that is worthy of his stature to do so. Which is like, why would it be against Shane, of all people? Mm-hmm. It would make more sense if it was against Austin or Lesnar or The Rock or even Roman Reigns or even Finn Balor. It should be someone that's worthy of that last match. But no, I don't. I have no issue with the Boneyard match being his last match, because it was something different. It was something special.
And go ahead and tell me, before I get your whole thoughts on the documentary, but I do got to say this. I don't believe Shane McMahon should be Undertaker's last match, but I believe Undertaker should have a few more matches before his end. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say this. I'm gonna keep it real. The Boneyard match was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. But that being said, I don't want that to be Undertaker's last match. I want to see Undertaker go out in the ring, and I wouldn't mind it being with AJ Styles, but I don't want it to be a Boneyard match. I want it to be with the fans there. I wanted them to give him his proper praise. I want him to get a standing ovation, and then I want him to kind of like go out the way he did with Roman Reigns, like, well, what, you know, the way the match ended and how he took off the hat, took off the jacket, took off the gloves, and he got a standing ovation and all that type of thing. I want it to be similar to that, but I don't want it to be, even though he got to ride off on the motorcycle was dope and everything with the Boneyard match, I don't want that to be the end. It got to end in the ring to me. And Undertaker looks like he got a few more matches left in him to me. But tell me what you think about the entire documentary in the last episode.
I like what's it called? I like it how it's pretty much Undertaker step by step. We get to learn more about Mark Calloway, the man. Mm-hmm. I like it though because we just get to understand he's like he's just an ordinary dude. Pretty much, he's like virtually how I see Drew Brees. Pretty much, guy who loves his country, guy who loves the military, guy who loves motorcycles, guy who loves doing what he does. So it's just like okay, I get a very good understanding of him. And so far, Undertaker is a cool dude. I don't have an issue with him really as a person, but I do find what I do find most like interesting about him is his reasoning for why he keeps wanting to leave and come back. And I understand that, especially when you find that one thing you love doing, it's hard to let it go. But the one thing I'm glad about is that he's finding his own resolution with it, and then he can probably finally just part ways with it. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing I do like, because I did like how he was in there talking to the NXT big men and talking about how they can go around things. I would like to see 30 minutes just on that, see how they talk about things. Mm-hmm. And like I just liked how it just pretty much came to fruition about how how AJ Styles versus Undertaker was possibly going to be his last match and how he was almost ready to let things go. Yeah. And I'm fine with that because I like the way I understand about the way it was cut. That was making it sound like that's his last match, but even Undertaker said he probably has a couple more in him. So I preferably like it like this: Undertaker ends his career right there, call it a career, and go. Because at least you're ending on your own terms. You're ending on the high note. Or you can have one last match. If you have this one last match, you better put everything on the line and make sure that people are gonna remember this for the rest of their lives. If not, I'm going to look at this like the same way I looked at Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker, Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. It shouldn't have happened. Let it go. We'll see you next year.
I would say for me, the documentary, especially the last episode, was very emotional. The last episode was very emotional. Just like seeing that if this is the end for The Undertaker, I just got to say thank you, Taker. Man, you're my favorite wrestler, man, of all time, and it was just it was amazing to watch Undertaker all these years put on phenomenal matches. Literally, that's like my childhood, watching Undertaker. So that's the first thing I gotta say. Just seeing the moments, how many moments the Undertaker created, and that's what the documentary I get the most from it is to imply into my life. I just want to create some great moments, man. Like even when I'm thinking about this podcast or I'm thinking about anything I do, I want to create great moments. And it seemed like Undertaker in his life and in his wrestling career, he has created a ton of great moments, not only for himself and the people around him, but for all of us fans. He's given us a lot of great moments, and I thank Undertaker for that.